Alright guys, so this is the part one of a two-part video that I'm doing. Part one is released right now whenever I release it, and then part two is going to be probably in a few months. Now, why such a big gap in between? Well, that's because right now it is late summer, early fall, and I probably won't finish this up until late winter, early spring, because you have hunting season and ice fishing season. And when I show you the project, it'll make sense. Well, you saw the thumbnail in the video title, so you probably already figured out. So what are we working on today? So, if you remember a long time ago on the channel, I took my old boat, that's right back there, and I did a bunch of work to it. It's on the channel. Don't go ahead and watch it because it was actually a pretty terrible video. I feel like I've gotten a lot better since. But we redid a bunch of stuff on that boat, and the boat is absolutely fine. I still love it, and I still fish in it today, and that is why we are where we at right now, because this is a project that I've been wanting to do for months. But I've been using the boat, and I had a bunch of other stuff going on. So what we're going to do in this video is we are going to tear it apart, and we are going to strip it down and paint it, because earlier in the spring of this year, I actually bought a trailer and started using a trailer on it. I used to throw it in the back of the truck, but with what I'm going to do in the next video with all my add-ons and adding things, it was going to get too heavy. So I wanted a trailer. So like I said, in the spring, I actually bought a trailer, refurbished the whole trailer, got it running so I could use the boat in the spring, summer, whatever. So in this video, what we're going to do is we are going to paint this thing. I'm probably going to put it halfway back together so I can still use it. We're going to do things a little different here. I just want to get this thing painted while the weather is good enough to paint. And then when it starts to get a little bit nicer next year, I'll pull it back in and we will finish it up. So with that being said, let's pull it in. Let's get it stripped right on down. The back transom on this, can't see it, it's still good, no issues with it. So I'm just going to actually put a thing of fiberglass over it, just to be safe and protect it. So I'm not a boat builder by any means, and some of you probably say you're not much of a woodworker either, but so if I'm doing something that doesn't make a lot of sense, it's because I don't know any better. So I've had like full-on mice in the boat in the past couple of years. You think maybe this is where they were going? Like a mouse-sized hole shoot through that styrofoam right on the bottom of the seat. I knew where they were coming from, but so when I put this anchor system together on the video that I did, I even referenced the fact that I thought that these conduit clips that I used were gonna kind of fray the anchor rope, and in 2 years it hasn't done it, but it is. I mean, it's just not an ideal situation. So then I even said about switching over to eye bolt. So that's what I'm gonna do. So now I have to drill out all the rivets that I put on these clips, and when we put the anchor system back in, I'm gonna use eye bolts because I think it makes a lot more sense than having these clips with these sharp edges. Just gotta undo everything they did a couple years ago. So my plan is I'm going to prep the entire interior of the boat. That means removing the extra rivet parts that didn't come off, and then scraping out all the sealant in there. Now, when I sealed all the leaks on this boat before, on that other video, I used Flex Seal because A, I don't know any other way, and B, it worked. Like, it's been a couple years. I've dragged this all over, all over the ground, all over gravel, and I haven't had any leaks, so it worked. So I'm going to peel all of the old silicone out of here because of the fact that the paint won't adhere to it, because I don't know a lot about boats, but I do know a little more about paint. I know that prep is like #1, so I'm going to get all the silicone out of here. I'm going to get this entire inside prepped, and then I'm going to flip it over, and then I will prep all the entire outside, and then we will start priming and painting, but I got to get this ready. So while I'm prepping this thing, there's a couple things I need to do. Is one, at the front of the boat, there's a spot that has been patched before with, I think, JB Weld, and it looks kind of terrible, so I'm going to just Bondo over that and kind of finish that up, make that look a little better. And then, like I said before, the outside and the inner side of the transoms, I'm going to just coat in fiberglass resin. Is that right? I don't know. Is that wrong? I don't know. But that's what we're going to do, is I'm going to just fiberglass over these, so therefore it kind of seals them a little bit better. And then I'll start getting back to prepping. Alright, all of the Flex Seal has been removed from here. And obviously those parts are going to leak again without the Flex Seal. So we're going to put this 3M adhesive sealant marine stuff on it. From my research online, this stuff is incredible. From the price, it better be incredible. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to seal around all the places that I had to Flex Seal. And then I can start getting even more prep done. But right now I want to make sure this thing is not going to leak. So if you're anything like me, you see $30 for a tube of sealant, and you pretty much crap your pants because, geez, that's a lot of money for a tube of basically caulk. But I'll say this. This is my first impression with this stuff. Obviously, I've never used it. Obviously, I don't know what it's going to be like as a sealant because I don't have it in the water yet. But just from putting it on, with how thick it is, I think this stuff's going to be sweet because it is super thick. It seems to be smoothing in. Like getting really deep in there. I think this is going to be great. So if you're looking to seal your boat, from what I read online, this is the stuff, and from what I'm seeing right now, I think it probably is. So I got the front all sealed up. I just got to seal this back, and the back was really what I was worried about because it was leaking from there, kind of when I got the boat. So, but I think with this stuff we're going to be pretty much good to go. Like I said, it's super thick, but it seems to be going on pretty decent, and it just smears around like a baby's diaper, man. Like it's getting everywhere and it's doing what it's supposed to do. I don't think I'm gonna run into any problems with this stuff. This stuff seems to be really good. Expensive, but good. So she sanded, I blew it off with compressed air, and then I went through and gave it an acetone bath. So it's ready now for primer. So this is the primer that I'm using. I wasn't sure what kind to use. Again, don't really know what I'm doing. This is the primer I was going to use. When I picked it up, I thought I could spray it. So I only got a quart. Found out that I have to brush and roll it. So I hope there's enough. Might have to run back to the store and get another can. Well, she'll see. So it's cleaned off. I'm going to do the outside. Flip it over to the inside after it dries, obviously, because when you have a top and a bottom, you have to, you know. paint stuff like this, I have a hard time remembering to put a mask on just because I'm a terrible human being. But with this stuff, the smell, you want a mask. Like, this is rough right now. I'm trying to talk to you with this. If you wonder what it smells like, it's like if a dog had like 4 dozen eggs. It's potent and terrible. It's going really thin, so I'm wondering if I could have got away with spraying it, but probably need 2 coats, hoping not, but we'll see how stingy I want to be. This is stinky. Alright, change of plans here. So I've got 2 coats of primer rolled on here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to finish paint the bottom of this thing. I'm using this stuff from Tractor Supply. I've had really good success with this on other projects, and I've heard other people have used it on their sides of their boats, and they said it works great. So I'm going to use that on this. We're going to do the bottom. I think it's the hull. No, that doesn't make sense. We're going to do the bottom of the boat. Then once it dries, I'll flip it, put it on actually on the trailer, and then probably able to work on the inside without the whole thing tippy-tottering around on me. So I'm going to mask up, mix up some paint. We're going to spray this thing today. Alright, boat is now black. So before I started doing this project, I had my color scheme in my head. I wanted to go with the black and red. And I knew that the black would have to be the outside of the boat, because if you put all the black on the inside of the boat, that sun is going to bake you while you're in there. So I knew black would be on the outside. Now, I've sprayed black plenty of times to know that black is the worst color to spray because it shows every single imperfection that you have in whatever you're spraying. So when I was sanding this, I knew that, and I thought about it. And I'll do a layover here so you can see what I'm talking about. Is all of these imperfections in this boat, all of the dings, all of the repairs, all of the runs from the old paint, all of the big gouges from it, you know, docks or trees or anything like that this thing may have hit. Now, again, I knew that going in that you would see all that. So there's a couple reasons why I didn't spend the insane amount of time sanding, prepping, putting body filler on there and making this thing look absolutely mint. A couple reasons. One is this thing is over 30 something years old. Okay, it was a $100 boat. Okay, didn't make sense for me to spend that amount of time getting it to that level. Number 2 reason is I'm just lazy and I didn't want to get it to that point. But I think the biggest reason is if I spent all that time and I did all that, I would be sick to my stomach when I came in at a boat launch and I rubbed against, you know, sand and gravel, or I hit something in the water, or, you know, just having something with that much time and perfection into it, knowing that it's going to eventually run into things and get damaged. I just couldn't fathom myself doing that. I think this is going to look great, and this also shows, you know, the age of it, and it shows what it's been through, and you know, all the time it's spent on the water. So yeah, you can see that it's not perfect, but it's fine for me. So obviously you just saw I got the boat flipped around back into the trailer. After doing that, I damaged up some of the paint on the outside, which I didn't think about until I was damaging the paint on the outside. So I do need to touch up some outside stuff on here with the black, which is fine because I still haven't really decided yet how I want to do the top lip right here, if I want to do that black or red. So I'm going to prime it and kind of see where the wind takes me on it. But obviously acetone bath, roll the primer back on, and then hit it with some paint. And she is fully painted. Now, if you're wondering why that back section right back there is all gray, a couple reasons. One, I'm cheap, and I didn't want to buy more expensive spray paint to do back there. Because of the reason number two, is that it's actually just going to be a completely enclosed storage area when I do the interior of the boat. So it doesn't matter what color really it is. I just want to get some good durable paint. I use that same paint that I use the black on, because I know it's very durable. This paint itself, the red with the rattle can spray, it was terrible. It had absolutely poor coverage. It was expensive. I wish I would have went a different route, but by the time I thought about going a different route, I was already halfway invested. So, but I am very, very pleased with the color of it. Very happy with it. So, like I said, we're not going to get into the interior of the boat right now. We're going to do that on a different video. But I do need to throw the seats back in and get it ready, because it's only early fall, and if this winter's anything like last winter, I might be using this in December. So I'm going to throw the seats back in and get it ready to be used for the rest of the year. The fact that this boat has took me so much time with prep and paint and sanding and everything like that, all that, and then to put the old seats and everything back in, it does feel kind of dumb. But I know that it doesn't make sense to redo the seats and everything right now because of, like I said earlier in the video. So it does seem kind of disheartening to put these old seats in, but in the long run, it's a much better call. But I am only putting them in kind of temporary, so I'm only using a third of the bolts that I'll need, because this thing's only going to see water probably 2 or 3 times. As you guys can tell, it's getting a little tight in here, but I want to get the side emblem things back on, so obviously I'm going to rivet them back on. So basically just drill holes, put some pop rivets through them. I may go through and touch up the rivet heads with some paint just so it doesn't look so silly. I'm just going to eyeball this and wing this, because I don't think it matters a whole lot. I am going to put just a little bit of silicone around the holes, because I did just drill holes through the side of my boat. So I'm just going to put just a wee bit of silicone through there, around there. Now, if you remember all the way back to when I was taking everything off the boat, I said that my up front anchor system, I had the rope riveted to the side with these conduit clips, and then the problem was they were up against that sharp spot on there. It was just rubbing the rope not a good way. So what I'm talked about doing in the last video, I'm talking about doing in this video, is I'm going to switch over to eye bolts. So everything's obviously more round, it's not smoother. I'm just going to put a bunch of these all up in there, which will allow that rope to run right across nice and down without getting rubbed all the wrong way. Alright, so as you guys can tell, I'm in the boat. Now, I brought the boat out because I wanted to make sure that all that sealing that I did made it so it didn't obviously sink. The boat wasn't going to take out any water. But it did rain like crazy last night, and the boat filled with water outside. So the boat has water in it. I've been out here for, I don't know, 25 minutes or so, and the boat doesn't seem to be taking on any more water, which is kind of the ideal situation with a boat. But like I said, this is part 1 of part 2. The second part of this video will come out probably early spring. I got a lot to do on the inside of the boat. Now the boat is painted. We've got a fish finder to put on. I got some cool storage that I want to do. I'm going to add some real seats so I'm not just sitting on this wet wood. So there's a lot that we want to do. So make sure that if you guys want to see that, make sure that you guys do subscribe for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll leave you guys with some fishing footage if I actually catch any fish, since I've been out here 25 minutes and not got a single bite. So see you guys on the next project. Man, that thing hammered it. Not losing this one. Oh, big egg. Just a little gill. He looks mad. Not very big, but hey, I think I found it. Probably don't need to give it a 15 when I'm trying to set the hook on a bluegill. Bluegill was not the target species. I was going for bass, but when bass don't hit, figure something else out. So I'll hold this close to the camera so it looks big. Fishy? Sorry. Hey, watch yourself, boy. I mean, I didn't say a big one, but I can at least usually always catch one here. Catch you later.